So I don't mind rejection. I don't mind change of plans. I don't mind a lot of things, but lies are one thing I don't tolerate. If there's anything in my history, anything that I've done that's significant or blogged about, regularly or had any major interest in is reducing or eliminating lies from relationships, from politics, from business, just removing or reducing lies. That's why I started VeracityIntegrity.com. I keep thinking Veracity Life, but that's the domain I lost. But VeracityIntegrity.com, lie detection technology company. But here's the thing. When my ex-wife wanted to immigrate to Ireland, she asked one of our friends to marry her. He rejected her. And so she said, hey, ask his sister. So I asked the guy's sister. We knew this family really well. She said yes. I said, well, if you marry me, are you going to be dating? Like, I'm still going to be with my ex-wife, so what about you? She was like, no, I don't want any other men, but I do want a baby. So I asked my ex-wife. She said yes. Went over to Ireland the next year, and we shacked up, and we worked on the marriage thing. I had it all paid for. Spent about $4,500 on the marriage, including plane tickets to our honeymoon in Florida, our really expensive $400 a night room in Florida, and the wedding officiation and all that we had paid for. I mean, I was all in. She was all in. In that time, we broke up a few times. So I kept telling her, get birth control, get birth control. 20-something different messages I found in my messenger where I asked her, I reminded her, hey, put this on the calendar. Hey, call your doctor. Hey, let's get on birth control. Never happened. So then I scheduled with, what was his name? Oh, John, I can't remember his name. I'll put a link in here to the email. But I wrote this guy in Dublin for a vasectomy because I wasn't wanting to have a baby out of wedlock. I was fine having a baby in marriage. I wasn't going to have a baby outside of marriage. And one of those reasons is because if we have a baby outside of marriage and she doesn't grant me guardianship, then I don't get it. But if we're married, I do. And that's just how Irish law works. So I wasn't interested in having a baby without a marriage. I've never had one. I've had 5 kids. The last one with this woman in Ireland was the only one that I had outside of wedlock. So I tell her in February when I made the appointment, she talked me out of it. She says, no, I will marry you. Let's just not get the vasectomy. And I don't want something like that because it's irreversible and I want to have a baby. I was like, okay. So I wrote this guy and I told him, God, I can't remember the guy's name. I usually remember it because I've told the story a few times. Anyway, I'll post the link. But I told him, nope, my fiance says she's going to marry me and she wants a baby, so we're going to cancel this for now. And he wrote me back. He's like, okay, that's fine. And anyway, I'll attach the details there in the link in the comments or something. But so I canceled it, and then she gets pregnant. Well, the night before our wedding, she gets over to her family's house and starts telling them a whole bunch of stuff like boo-hoo-hoo. I don't know what the context was, but I learned lately what it was. And she was telling everybody that I was pushing for a baby for immigration. So I got her pregnant on purpose is what she says. It's not true. I was doing everything to avoid pregnancy and trying to get her to do everything to avoid pregnancy. And she kept pushing and pushing and pushing for the child. So she's over there boobing and whining and crying. And then her brothers come over and beat the hell out of me. She warned me before they got there. She's like, lock the door, they're coming over. I said, I'm not locking shit. So we'll have a talk or we'll have a fight, but I'm not locking shit. And tell them it's 1 at a time, not 2 at a time. I'm not doing this chicken shit stuff. Well, it was 2 at a time. And anyway, that's where I got this Irish nose job. So after the fight, I was like, well, let's just get married. I mean, you're pregnant. Baby's on the way. She's like, okay, well, let's do it. And I was like, well, I'm not paying for it again. You pay for it this time. And as soon as we get married, I'll reimburse you. I'll put the money back in your account. Well, I can't. I was like, yes, you can. You'll have the money on Friday. She gets paid weekly. I'm like, you get paid Friday. We pay for the wedding Friday. We get married Friday, and I'll pay you back Friday. No, I don't think I can. I don't want to risk it. Okay, well then I'm heading home. So I headed back to the States. And shortly after that, we did some couples therapy and stuff. Shortly after that, she stopped talking to me because I kept persisting to come back and be a part of the baby's life during the pregnancy and everything. Nope. So she blocked me for most of the pregnancy. And then the day the baby was born, she unblocks me. She's like, oh, you have a baby. Like, you have a baby? Where am I? I'm not there. I don't have no baby. You have a baby. Oh, it's your baby. Oh, okay. So I paid maintenance for, up until, April of this year. I never missed. Not once. Paid maintenance, and sometimes I'd pay double or triple maintenance. Even while the baby was in the womb, I paid her for prenatal stuff and tried to help her out with things. Even when she wasn't talking to me, I'd have her friend Marianne go over with money. $500 here, $300 there, $200 here. Like, I did all kinds of stuff. So then I go back over because she's like, yeah, okay, I'll marry you. I just got on disability, so I've applied to get disability so that when we get married, I don't lose benefits. I was like, okay. So I get over there. I propose. We were at Duke's Bar. I proposed. Got on my knee, gave her the ring, put it on her finger. It was a little too tight. But her friend Barry comes out and sees us. And she said yes, she accepted the ring, whatever. But she got real flustered about it that her friend knew, or that her family's friend knew. So then she's like, well, I'm not going to tell anybody, I'm going to tell everybody it was fake or whatever. I was like, oh, okay, well, that's fucked. Okay, well, I'm going home then. So we had a little spat, and then we talked like 2 or 3 weeks later. She's like, okay, come back, we'll do this. So I come back. Well, it was all about the birth certificate. Okay, let's get the birth certificate done. I was like, we got plenty of time for that. Let's not stress out. Let's get married first. No, let's get the birth certificate. Okay, so I'm out of there. Fuck this. If that's all this is about is the birth certificate, then I'm out of there. And then I was like, well, come on now. Let's just do this. I talked her into it. And I said, I'll just give up on the birth certificate thing. I don't need, or the marriage and the birth certificate thing. I'll just come over and I'll immigrate and I'll be a part of the baby's life or whatever. And she's like, well, maybe I'll marry you. I was like, okay, well, let's figure it out. So I come back over for the third time. Spent Christmas there, spent New Year's there. We booked flights for Portugal. We were going to go on vacation in April. I think she went. I didn't go. But what happened in the meantime is my friend Jack took me aside and said, look, man, she's telling everybody that you got her pregnant on purpose and for the intent of immigration. It's like, I didn't get her pregnant on purpose. I tried to talk her out of it. John McCormick, that's his name, the vasectomy doctor in Dublin. But I even wrote John McCormick and scheduled a vasectomy, and she talked me out of it, and that's evident in what I wrote him back in February. So I then, her ex, with the other 4 kids that she never ever talks to or lets them see, starts sending her money and, harassing her and stuff. So then she calls the Garda. I got that recorded, and I can attach that too. She calls the Garda, tells them, hey, this guy's harassing us, blah, blah, blah. What can you do? They're like, nothing. We can't do anything. You've already dropped all the charges. So I went down there that night because it was suspicious. I was like, dropped all the charges? This guy's a pedophile. She tells everybody this. Well, they told me the same thing. I was like, well, he's harassing her. She's going, crazy. She's going to be in the mental institution again if he keeps harassing her, because she constantly goes to the mental institution to get away from her kids, I suspect. I don't know. I don't see this mental illness that she talks about. But anyway, she's always in Lakeview. She's been there several times anyway. And they're like, no, she dropped all these charges. He has nothing pending against him. He's not harassing you. It has to be ongoing for it to be harassment. She dropped all the pedophile or rape charges or whatever. He's not, being charged for that, or there's no pending charges for that. This is a done deal. So I walked away, talked with her about it, let her listen to the recording of me and the Garda, and she flipped out. It was just off after that. But my friend Jack set me down several times, and I recorded this because he said he was going to die. He's like, I'm going to die by November. Told everybody this. So I was like, and he told me about this thing that she was saying, how I told everybody how she told everybody I got her pregnant on purpose for immigration purposes. Like, no, I didn't. We were going to get married. That was the point of everything, not birth, not a baby. She wanted the baby. I wanted the marriage. And I showed him the letter that I wrote to John McCormick in February of 21. He's like, oh, so me and him had a good long talk. And anyway, I just want to clear that up. No, I didn't just go impregnate somebody for the purposes of immigration. She wanted another baby. She gets a lot more benefits the more babies she has. She doesn't want to work, and she's got all these claims of, I'm this and I'm sick, I'm mentally ill, I got this, I got that. And, you know, instead of going to work, she just has more and more babies. She told me that she never liked the guy that she had her first 4 kids with. She said, oh, he'd only come over for a night, I'd have sex with him, and then I'd make him leave. I never wanted to live with the guy. And I was like, oh. And so now I've reduced it to what it really come down to, and it's that she just wanted more babies, so she gets more benefits. She gets 3 times as many benefits as what anybody I know in the States gets. She gets cares for kids, she gets child allowance, she gets lone parents, she gets all these things, utility bonuses, all these things. And the more kids she has, the more money she gets. That's the only thing I can think of why she did this. And now she's telling everybody it's my fault that I wanted a baby. I can prove beyond any reasonable doubt that that is untrue.